thème de son intervention maintenant, cette nuit, est un peu particulier. Donc, elle a décliné les thèmes de underground, unveiled, pour parler de quelque chose qui est un peu tabou, non, on peut dire, quelque chose dont personne n'a envie de parler. Donc, les morts, les sommeils et les morts. Donc, voilà.
I don't speak French, I'm sorry. I want to talk to you about many different things, mostly stories that I hope you find the connection between them. But I don't want to make a very coherent speech, so I prefer to talk to you freely about many things that at this moment I am interested. So the title of this talk is a little bit strange. I understand that it's a little bit surprising, but I think that is closely related to the problem of underground and undercover. As Alexandra told you, I'm most of all curator, and I'm always working in exhibitions, and in a way my thinking is framed by the special reporting of ideas. So I want to start talking about a recent experience that I started 2 months ago, something like that, or 3 months ago. I have a friend of mine who is architect and lives in Barcelona also, and she was asked to propose the museography for the Museum of Montjuïc Cemetery in Barcelona. This is the cemetery. The cemetery lies in the southern slope of the mountain that goes down to the sea. If you know Barcelona, when you enter to the city from the airport, you see it on the left. It was opened in 1883. The work is the result of the increasing of demography of the city and the growing of economical power of the Catalan middle class, the bourgeois Catalan. As in many European cities, the phenomenon of taking off the cemetery from the center of the city is really common. This big hotel with views, because you can see the sea for the dead souls, was constructed because of the small cemeteries located in different neighborhoods of the city couldn't expand. First, because of the urbanistic pressure of the surroundings, and second, because they have exhausted their capacity of inhumation. Inhumation means from Latin in and humus, that means land. This cemetery is really eclectic, is strange, and in his forms and architecture, but in a way anticipated the modernism that Modernismo Catalan is our particular Art Nouveau. When it was constructed, and Gaudí was about 30 years old, so you can imagine more or less the relation with the modernism. The thing is, my friend was terrified by the proposal or made this museum, and she didn't want to do it at all. And in a way, she thought that to do a museum about a cemetery and work in a cemetery could bring her bad luck or something like that. So it was funny for me when she told me that so clearly, and she told me, no, I'm going to refuse that, I'm not going there, and so and so. She was asked to put in order some materials, like you will see here, these coaches, funerary coaches, and all these paraphernalia. And it was not a very exciting, of course, project at the beginning. But I proposed her to do a total and different crazy project that I suppose that they would never accept, but we are working on that. And we have been doing a research on the issue of death and dead souls, as I said always, is because I'm a Russian specialist, and dead souls is a famous novel of Gogol that I love.
We cannot see.
Sorry?
Dead souls, Gogol.
Yeah, it's a more. And then we propose to do like museum with temporary exhibitions, mostly with artistic, with artist interventions and projects, and also with concerts and music for dead people and for the for the families of them. And also we were thinking with many other people, we were studying as a case study how it could be this space. Physical and conceptually talking, no? We were thinking in the space for the dead, for the bodies, for their soul, for their memory, and also for the conscience, no? Because we were thinking at this moment it seems a little bit strange to talk about immortality, or it remains as something related with, if you talk about the immortality of soul, is related with, I don't know, with vampires, or immortality of bodies with zombies. It doesn't seem, or clones, or all these monsters, no? But we thought that in a way the actuality of the issue was really important. I want to recommend you a book of a classic book that talks about this matter, about the history of attitudes to death and dying, that I think is fascinating. That is from a French philosopher, an historian, who is Philippe Ariès. Perhaps you know him. He studied death as a social construction, and we can say that he invented the field of study of the death. He published a book that in French is called L'homme d'avant la mort, and in English, The Hour of Our Death. And he was a friend of Foucault, and Foucault, by the way, wrote his obituary. Ariès says, where death had once been familiar and tamed, he called la mort apprivoisée, it now is strange and tamed and forbidden, la mort interdite. Medieval people accepted death as a part of life, expected, foreseen, and more or less controlled through ritual. At home or in the battlefield, they met more or less, they met death with resignation, but also with the hope of a long and peaceful sleep before the collective judgment. But death has become wild and uncontrollable. The change in Western European society occurred during later mid-ages, when religious and secular elitists progressive abandon acceptance of the fact that we all die, to concentrate on their own deaths, developing an attitude that Ariès called the death of the self, or my death. There is a famous phrase of John Donne, which is the champion of the new humanism, that he said, death, you should die. And this is a really change of attitude. I really recommend you this book because it's a history and how we see and how we deal with our death and our dead familiars. And he explains how progressively it has become something more and more related with family and loved ones, and in a way we are really worried not about our own death, that is something that will happen and we have no control on that, but the others one, and how we have changed our rituals, and every time the thing is passing more to the familiar things, and the rituals are more or less disappearing. This is just an introduction to tell you why I'm talking about this and why I am studying that at this moment. I have a study with obsession a moment in the history of the Western culture where very violent circumstance, and some happy and some really awful, made blow up the imagination of new models of social relationship and auto-representation. That means the Soviet Russia from the revolution to the end of the 30s. Starting from the beginning, as we'll say Lenin, the year 17th was the year zero. No, I don't know how much you know about the story of Russia, but from February to October of this year, everything changed completely, and the country woke up to find everything upside down, and the pillars that supported the social structure, the political, religious, and the legal institutions, everything, the ownership of lands, the ownership of houses, everything has been destroyed, and authority was in the revolutionary committees that were called Soviets, that basically were the workers, the peasants, and the soldiers. So I've been studying what did it mean to be a subject in the modern Soviet society, and it was like a leap into an imaginable future. In the 20s, and exponential progression in the 30s, all aspects of everyday life, of everyday routine, took on ideological significance and became subjects for discussion and constant revision in debate that converted family structures, domestic coexistence, sexual relations, consumer habits, hygienic community celebrations, mourning and funerals, rites, the celebrations of feeling, loyalty, friendship, or love. This is a famous painting of you on that is called October, and is this cosmic explosion that means for the people there. This is a Mayakovsky poster of propaganda, and you can see all the state of the situation. And this is the funeral of Malevich, but it was in the 30s. But as you can say, when I say that everything changed, that means that also the funerals, and for example, he did a suprematistic funeral with this. This is his famous black square painting he made in the 40s. And when he died in the 30s, ill and totally apart from the collective of artists, because he was doing other things that was not very popular, some friends of him did this strange funeral with a suprematist thing. So, and everything changed. And there is also, I show you this thing of Mayakovsky. Mayakovsky was a poet and propagandistic, futuristic artist, drawer, and many other things. Filmmaker also, and he was a writer and a he wrote many plays, and one of them I recommend you highly is The Bed Back, which is like a dystopian story. And I wanted to read you just a sentence of this play. The main character is called Prisipkin, and he wants to split with his girlfriend, and the sentence is, "Citizen, our love has been liquidated, and if you interfere with my civic rights to freedom or feeling, I call the police." This is just a joke, no? But if you read the literature of the moment, you can see how the changes were, how strong. There is a book that I also recommend you that is called Everyday Life in Early Soviet Russia, Taking Revolution from Inside, from a specialist that is called Christina Kjaer, that brought together a series of essays illustrating the tremendous shock arising from this kind of attack on people's minds, where the hope was mixed with confusion, hyperexcitation, anxiety, even sexual psychosomatic epidemics in population. For example, there was a whole generation of young people that feel so hard the pressure of their potential sexuality in this new world that they couldn't work sexually speaking, or many strange circumstances. A whole generation of people felt vulnerable because they found it impossible to adapt a world that was like a book with blank pages, which had to be written and illustrated in a hurry. Because from the 20s to the 39 of the 40s, the situation of the country was really different, and at the end, quite literally, the aspiration of the Bolshevik project was to create a new form of humanity, and they made a lot of pressure for that. I want to talk to you also about this is Gustav Klus's, which was a drawer and made a big propaganda for Lenin. He is Lenin, and then for Stalin, and he was killed at the end by Stalin. And he did the first photomontage that we know, and the montage was the technica that all this generation of constructivists after the revolution, the artists decide that they need to contribute to construct the new socialism, and they start doing, of course, graphics, all the propaganda, applied art. They work in the industry, you know, about that. You know Lisitsky, that for sure. But I wanted to show you this artist that is called Gustav Klusy, that is less known, and he did this dynamic city in the 2 years after the revolution, and it is considered the first photomontage, and it puts this idea of abstract forms together with the real construction of something, and this is the step from the abstract, for me, from the abstract avant-garde to the constructivism that they did, that Rodchenko or Mayakovsky, all these people did. But going again to the situation, emotional situation, and the context of this generation who was young in the 20s. In the 20s, all the psychotechnics and behavioral psychological theories were really fashionable in Europe and in Russia. Everything in Russia looks like to be stressed with this situation. Of course, the interest for the machine, for the technical, for the movement, for all these things that futurism in Italy, for example, put together, arrived to, at the same moment, to Russia, and in Russia they go farther and farther. I was telling that these psychological theories that were fashionable in Europe and Russia came to the fore as the most effective tool for the task of modeling the new man. So they fit perfectly in the idea that the Bolsheviks, especially Lenin and Trotsky, had. Stalin at that moment was not so important. So I want to read you some words of Trotsky about social engineering that we call, no? The question of how to educate and regulate and how to improve and complete the physical and spiritual construction of man is a colossal problem which can only be conceived on the basis of socialism. To produce a new, improved version of man, that is the future task of communism. And for that, we first have to find out everything about man, his anatomy, his physiology, and that part of his physiology which is called his psychology. Man must look at himself and see himself as a raw material, or at least as a semi-manufactured product, and say, at last, my dear Homo sapiens, I will work on you. Since thus, man was a machine that reacted to stimuli. Consequently, the task was to stimulate him. Lenin was deeply influenced by the ideas of the psychologist Ivan Sechenov, who held that all the man's actions, both conscious and unconscious, were reflexes. His book, Reflexes of the Brain, was really well known by Lenin, and then he protected Ivan Pavlov, that I am sure that you know him, that was the most important researcher on conditioned reflexes of the brain. Pavlov openly criticized the regime. That is something that with Stalin you couldn't do, and but it was considered so important for the new man. His research was considered so important for constructing a new psychology that everybody take care of her, and he had when the big starvation of the cities and with many problems in Moscow where he lived, they had his own institute and he could walk. Lenin called Pavlov research as hugely significant for the revolution, and Bukharin, who is other of the most important Bolsheviks, describe it as a weapon from the iron arsenal of materialism. One of the questions that have given rise to enormous interest among modern day scholars of the culture and art of that period concerns the connection established between multimedia artistic practices and the psychological and psychotechnical research of early Soviet culture. Both artists and scientists concur in experimenting with the sense in the study of perception, focusing on the mechanisms which could affect and transform human consciences. The cultural institutions support research in this field, which in turn contributed to the dissolution of traditional artistic disciplines in favor of interdisciplinary practices. At this moment, it was a big school run by Rodchenko and Lisitsky and other important Klutzis. It's an institute called Butemas, that is like the correspondence of the Bauhaus in Berlin. And they did an important research on properties of color, and also many architects were there, like Ladovsky, which is one of the most important theorics of these interdisciplinary studies. He did, for example, design a special equipment to monitor the sense and also device and apparatus for testing the spatial properties of form. All the representations that you can see here, two advertisements for the government, for the companies, for like big stores. This is made by Rodchenko and Mayakovsky. Mayakovsky made the text and Rodchenko the draw. And as you see, the man is transformed into a machine, and you can see always the watch, and also this is a poster about the Bertov film, which is called the Man with the Camera. And so you can see this idea constantly that the man is a machine, and with the big idea for the artists that were working in this moment is that the montage is something related with the Pavlov studies, and with the technical of the montage, you could make an art that could change the mentality of the new men. So all together, politicians and artists were working in this front. In addition to this mechanicist interpretation of human behavior, appeared an obsession paradigmatic of the age. The machines were everywhere. In literature, there is, for example, a novel that I love that is called Envidia in Spanish, that is all about a strange machine that is called Ophelia, and is like a big metaphor of the moment. The writer is Olesha. It's called Olesha. This is a funny piece that I had in my exhibition in Madrid, in this red gallery. It is in ink, ink, something for the ink for your desk, for your table, to put the ink inside. Yeah, ink box. And is a present that Central Power made to Lenin, and it represents this idea of Lenin that the electric power will transform totally the life of the Soviet Union, that of course it was. But I found this piece really strange and fantastic. I don't know if you know a famous novel of Samyatin that is called We. That is an utopic novel. And the main character of this novel, We, is based in someone who is called Alexei Gastev. You can see him here. He was a poet and crazy man, totally crazy, who at that moment there was a movement called Prolet Cult that were the social clubs for the companies, the stattal companies or theaters. They have clubs for the proletarian, where there was supposed that the proletarians, without no mediation, will develop an own culture, the socialist culture. This Gastev was the prolet cult theoretician and efficiency guru who in the 20s had published poetry of the workers and was considered by many of the main important futuristic poets like Khlevnikov or Asayev. There's a quotation of Asayev that I love. He said that he's the Ovid of the miners and metal workers. And Lunacharsky, who was the Minister of Culture at that moment with Lenin, considered him like a hero of poetry and also a hero of organization. He founded something called the Central Institute of Labor. You have here some images of this organization. He has three gods that were Taylor, Gilbert, and Henry Ford, and he took this influence from, especially from America with Ford, to try to organize the wild way of working of the workers in the early Soviet Union. And he did very strange experiments, and he was supported by many artists, not only some architects, and of course some architects and all this constructivist group. They thought that the organization and the study of the movement was very important. Also Trotsky said that, no? For think about the new society. And in this dystopian novel that is called We by Siamatin, he appears like a crazy protagonist that is in a trap and is his own victim. And in a way, he was his own victim because he did this institute that was very popular, was supported by Lenin and by Trotsky, and he developed many filials around all the country, about 1,000, where the workers study the more efficient way. You can see here, this is a poster of his institute, and this is the atelier when they study the movements, and they start working. This is the perfect way of move a hammer and he is Gastev. So he was doing this investigation. This is an investigation on robotics. For example, this is a robotic arm. And as I told you, he was very influential in many artists, and this is Meyerhold. You perhaps know him. He is a playwright and a man of theater, and he developed this technical of dance and acting that is called biomechanics. And all is together, Gastev, biomechanics, the architect to work in the control of movement and time and precision. And here you can see Popova's famous stage in a constructivist way, which is a big machine. And the actors are playing this biomechanics. That means that they need to be ultra specific and act and move with economy, meaning that they need to be expressive with the less movement possible. This is a ballet of Exter, which is also a constructivist artist. And this is the stage for a play which is called Cookie Roll, that is a comic thing. And it's all about time and money and how to be efficient. when I told you that many of the scholars are talking about the multidisciplinarity and the way of that these artists work with media. This is an example that I have also in my exhibition. This is of Gustav Klusis again. Perhaps you know this kiosk. They are called Radio Orator, and this is an anthem to catch the voice of Lenin from the radio. And these loaders are, these are pieces of 6 meters to be put in the middle of the street. And they were doing really multimedia